play against us, okay? See who's...
I come from a Mexican background. Both my parents are born in Mexico. I grew up in Los Angeles, California. My mother spoke only Spanish to us at home.
Shoot something in the air like this.
My husband's family is originally from El Salvador, and he grew up part-time in El Salvador and most of his life here in the States.
When Rosa Flores' family came to the United States, they brought their own unique attitudes about money.
Primarily, I think in our culture, we do tend to look at it in terms of not only money for supporting ourselves, but supporting our families.
Rosa's family also saw money as one way to make a better life, an attitude Rosa inherited.
We didn't have a lot of money around, so I knew that it meant to get money, I had to work to get it.
Like Rosa's, Emily Chu's family came to the U.S. with their own attitudes about money.
My parents are from Taiwan, but my husband's parents are originally from China.
When we were young, my parents always taught us that, always save money, don't be wasteful, saving money for the rainy day.
The way that my parents raised us is that when we have something extra, we always put it in the bank.
Traditionally, Chinese, they don't like to invest money in stock or mutual fund.
And also we know that some Asians will buy houses so that when it becomes time to send their kids to college, they can sell those houses and pay for the college tuition.
Okay. All right.
And the main thing is, we know that the money is hard earned, it's hard won, and so you don't want to just squander it away, because it's very easy to do in this country.
Nale, smile.
We're trying very hard to teach our children about our ethnic background. We're making sure that they're exposed to the language, the culture, the people, with everything we're involved in, from dance classes that my daughter takes, Mexican dance classes, to Spanish school where we take both of our children. So they're very exposed to it, even though they're not growing up the way we did in that very ethnic environment.
I tried it. My family is unique in the way that we sort of carry the tradition of having the three generations living together under one roof, because you see that a lot in the olden days, and also maybe in Taiwan or China, where you have the grandparents and then the parents and then the kids all living together. And right now, because I have a little baby, my parents have moved in with us to help out with the child care. And I think that it's of primary importance that I teach her about her culture and her background. There are several Chinese schools in Virginia, right?
Mm-hmm. Annandale.
I think the Chinese culture, the heritage, is a wonderful heritage, and she should be proud of that, and she should never forget that.
Charles, what can we learn from these families?
Great stories, both of them, and very similar in many respects. The Hispanic woman was fascinating. I have so many clients just like that. The word risk really permeates the discussion here, and avoidance of risk, and it's a classic response to immigration. I mean, what do immigrants do? They leave everything behind. They come here with nothing to start afresh, and clearly they're just getting by, and it's all about survival and putting food on the table and caring for your kids to have a better life.
But therein lies the dilemma, the savings dilemma, because they realize that it's very expensive, and it's very important to get ahead of inflation. That's why I think that the stories of the Hispanic lady and the Asian couple, that it's so important that they now understand that it is important to save but also invest.
But Jesse, you mentioned a couple times inflation. And some people say that inflation is under control now. Why you bring up inflation?
Well, inflation is never under control. I recall a client that I have, his name is Marty Sims, and what he discovered when he retired from the post office, which, by the way, was a pretty good job for African Americans not too long ago.
Still is.
Still is. Right. And as such, he retired back in 1976, and he promised 100 of his coworkers at his retirement party that he would do what? He would do the postal thing. No, he wasn't going to shoot anybody. He was going to give them a Christmas card each and every Christmas. Well, back there in 1976, the postal card cost 13 cents. So he committed $13 out of his $790 monthly retirement check to send out these cards. Well, I saw him not too long ago, and by the way, the card costs 33 cents now, and I understand it's going up to 34, maybe even 50 cents sometime soon. So he's now committed almost $35 out of that. And so it's just a short period of time. Things seem to just get more and more expensive.
Let's bring this home to our people. First, let's talk about attitude, because this also came up. I know in your book you talk a lot about attitude. How important is attitude as it relates to building wealth, especially for people of color?
I think you have to have the right attitude, and in fact my book, I positioned it as an attitude check for Latinos to change the way they think about money from hoarding it, saving it, managing it at the minimal amount of risk to growing and creating true wealth that will last and not only allow them to live their lives the way they want to, but also to pass on to the next generation, which is a major goal that I have within the Latino community. There's this, everyone talks about this massive transfer of wealth from the World War II generation to the baby boomers. I know that minority communities are not participating to the extent that they represent population. We need to grow wealth, and the only way to do that is accelerate the creation of wealth. And you can't do that earning 3% in a money market or a savings account.
Give some specific recommendation of how people can adjust their attitude so they can be ready to enjoy more economic success.
Well, the first thing is understand this word risk. Jesse was just talking about it in terms of inflation. That's a very graphic reminder, example that many people can focus on. But even at 3% inflation over 25 years, you lose 40%, 50% of your purchasing power. So there's the risk of losing in the short run versus the risk of absolutely knowing you're not going to have enough money 20 years from now. And as Latinos are younger, their income, their wealth is more exposed. So that's what I do to try to make it real for them, is to compare their situation at 30 with their parents' situation at 55 and try to make it come alive for them and say, you know, what's the greater pain?
But is assuming just more risk on your investments going to be enough?
No, I mean, they have to be clear on what their true goals and objectives are and think intelligently and have a written plan for that and understand what are the different aspects of their wealth that they need to address.
You know, that's an important point about goals, because too many times people just don't have goals in front of them.
Right.
As I often say, more people spend more time planning their summer vacation than they do their financial future. And that's what I try to address in my book and my speeches and lectures, because what people have to put in front of them is exactly what the future has to hold for them. Now, the Hispanic lady and the Asian couple talked about multi-generations within the same household. Well, let me just tell you something. That is going by the wayside. There was a time when Sissy would leave her good job up in Detroit and go back down south and take care of Mama. Well, that doesn't happen very often anymore. More often than not, when the generations disperse, they don't return home to take care of their elders. And that's why it's extremely important that people look at not only saving and investing, but other key issues such as insurance, long-term care, disability insurance, and actually prepare for the future.
So it is more than just risk in investing, as Jesse said. It's looking at all the things that impact our ability not only to create, but to protect and preserve our wealth, because it has to last for a long time.
Well, let's go back.
Look, you have to understand this. No matter what your situation is, money makes it a whole lot better.
Of course.
So whether you figure that education is a critical element, or health care, or whatever the issue is, money is the common denominator. And that's why investing and saving and actually participating in the American economic system is so critical.
Give me 2 or 3 steps that people watching the show should take. Charles?
Well, let me just say this first. You have to make yourself your number one priority. If you don't make yourself your number one priority, and you end up paying the doctor bill and the utility bill and the house note and not focusing on the importance of developing a savings program for yourself. Now, clearly I believe in tithing, but right after that, you've got to set aside a certain nest egg for yourself. Then I think you've got to systematically invest. You have to do it on a regular, routine basis. There's no lotto in life. You have to actually, to become a millionaire, you have to start out by investing on a regular, routine basis at a very young age.
Charles?
If you have a written set of goals, you're going to focus and stay committed on those goals, so you will pay yourself first. So first, what are your goals? And sometimes you need to find a professional to help you understand what they should be and prioritize them. So number one, think about what money means to you and focus on your goals. Then start paying yourself first and taking a look at how you can increase the efficiency of the money that you're making.
I want to thank both of you. As always, you're entertaining and informative, and I know you'll be back.
Kelvin, thanks very much.
Thank you.